Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. I'm sorry for all the silence on Monday. That was terrible. This is the case of Reeves Johnson III. He disappeared on the 10th day of February 1983. He was 31 years old, 5'7", 130 pounds. Sorry. There we go. He was white. He suffered from hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar. He has sought psychiatric treatment in the past. He vanished from Kittery, Maine. He drove a red 1972 Volkswagen, which is, dang it, accounted for. He moved to Maine from Pennsylvania in 1977 and was working as a welder for Donnelly Manufacturing in Exeter, New Hampshire, which is not far from that part of Maine. He lived in a cabin on Jewett Court. That part of Maine is way down at the bottom, like one of the first places you come to when you leave here. He did not show up for work on February 4th. And he didn't make his weekly phone call to his family. On the 4th, a man described as young, with black hair and a mustache, wearing a black leather jacket and dark pants, knocked on Reeves' door and was let in. Then he left on foot a short time later. Johnson, or somebody posing as him, emptied his bank account. Bought $146 worth of groceries. And that purchase was made at Stratham, New Hampshire. That was not where he normally shopped for groceries. On February 9th, they say he purchased, but they don't believe he purchased them, 2 packs of expensive thermal underwear in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Neither pack was in his size. One was a small and the other an extra large. He purchased car stereo equipment at Radio Shack, used checks to pay for all of this, despite the fact that there was insufficient funds to cover them. He was a very financially responsible young man, and this was on the 10th, someone went to Ocean National Bank and withdrew $30 from his checking account and $50 from his account, meaning his savings account. This only left a few dollars in each account. The bank tellers identified the person as Johnson. Maybe? February 12th, someone used one of Johnson's checks to purchase a pair of small bookshelf speakers from Radio Shack again, at a total of $100. The person also made a $30 deposit on a car radio and cassette player. The full cost was $280. The day after that, a check was written for the $250 balance remaining on the car radio and cassette player. On February 15th, his father in Pennsylvania asked the Kittery police to do a welfare check. The police went to his residence, and it was obvious that no one had been there in at least several days. A snowstorm had fallen on February 6th, and there were no tracks in the fresh snow. The door was unlocked, the pipes were frozen, so apparently somebody turned off the heat. Here in New England, okay, you may not have problem pipes freezing where you live, but here in New England, it's very important that heat is kept at least 50 degrees in an unoccupied dwelling in the wintertime. At least 50 degrees, if not warmer, if the temperature is even lower. You might have to bump it up to 55 or 60 just to keep the pipes from freezing. That's an unoccupied dwelling. We all know this. That's why when you move out of an apartment and you're paying for oil, make sure you leave oil in the tank and leave the heat on so that your landlord doesn't come to a bunch of burst pipes, which unfortunately did happen to my landlord one time in one of these apartments. Wow. So the things that were missing from his home include the following: a TV set, an acoustic guitar, record player and amplifier, all of his records, all of his clothing, all of his valuable welding equipment. The only items left behind were a set of guitar strings he had purchased on the 3rd, the box for the record player and amplifier, a pair of slightly damaged stereo speakers, and Johnson's contact lenses. That's really strange that he would leave his contacts behind. Oh, hell. Anyway. On February 15th, Johnson's red 1972 Volkswagen with Maine license plates was towed to the Exxon station in the Elwyn Park area of Portsmouth. Excuse me. And a person believed to be Johnson said he needed to go south and wanted quick repairs. He had mentioned wanting to visit his sister who lived in Georgia, but going south could mean he was going to Pennsylvania. Because he was from Pennsylvania, and well, that's well south of Maine. Still in the Northeast, but well south of Maine. On February 19th, his checkbook was used to buy $66 worth of groceries. Johnson himself reportedly reappeared at the Exxon station on the 21st to retrieve his car. He tried to pay the bill by check. The mechanic wouldn't accept check, so he left on foot, abandoning his car. Excuse me. On February 20th, someone claiming to be him called Donnelly Manufacturing and asked to have his last paycheck sent to his address in Kittery. Excuse me. His parents flew up from Pennsylvania and staked out the post office. Oh, before that, someone called the Exxon station and gave them the car, saying he paid $1,200 for it. for the cost of the repairs, and it had been a gift from his father. So this person didn't know what they were talking about. Anyway, his parents came to Kittery and were staking out the post office. Interestingly, as his parents were staking out the post office and his mom was taking pictures, a man, and I'll give you his description, according to the mother, long reddish blonde hair and a clean and neat appearance, about 5'10", dressed in an orange t-shirt, green overalls, and a red baseball cap with a short brim and white logo. He opened Johnson's post office box and collected his mail. He kept the paycheck Donnelly Manufacturing had sent, but threw out the other mail. Then he noticed he was being observed and photographed and put his hand up in front of his face. In the resulting photo, the man's face is completely covered. Huh. Excuse me. When confronted by his mother, the man said that he was living with him in Portsmouth. She had a car he would take her, so she got her husband to bring the car around, and this guy scooted. And the check was never cashed, and it was eventually canceled by the company. Okay. He had been picked up a hitchhiker the day after Christmas 1982 and took him to his home in Kittery, let him stay for a few days, gave him food and money. The man left on January 7th. Excuse me. When he had a friend from Massachusetts pick him up. And they think he took Johnson's house key with him. Great. There's been no activity on Reeves' social security number. His parents believe he could have died of natural causes due to his hypoglycemia, and it's possible that, I guess, this person took over his identity. Excuse me. Murder, She Told, which is a New England true crime podcast, teamed up with the family to do an episode on the case. New information was uncovered by this, including that he had had a girlfriend in 1978. Why that is relevant, I do not know. But they were digitizing the case file and found that. Along with help from Murder, She Told. Detective Cummer said, "We just need more eyes on the story. Someone has to remember Reeves, and they might know something and not even realize it's part of this puzzle," end quote. Another piece of information came from the Borderline restaurant. The strongest piece of evidence is, of course, the man that was stealing the mail. Okay. Detective Cummer said, quote, "Every clue is one step closer to figuring out what happened to Reeves. There are people who care about him who have had to live without knowing for the past 40 years. No piece of information is too small," end quote. There is a $6,000 reward being offered for information that leads to the recovery or whereabouts of Reeves. If you have any information excuse me, and the Murder She Told podcast, please release the entire file to her. So I will link that. It's murdershetold.com/Reeves Johnson. Again, I will link it. If you have any information, please call the Kittery Police Department at 207-439-1638. That's 207-439-1638. Or BC Cummer, Cummer, at kitterypolice.com. And I have to do the links for Wednesday that I forgot to do. Oh, good gosh. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you Friday. Bye, guys.